Oh, no way. So I've got one camera that says I've been live for 3 minutes. I hope that's not true. If so, hi. And sorry for the silence and just sitting there. I never know which camera to trust on that for the timing. But anyway, how's everybody doing tonight? Kind of hot here out in my studio garage. No, I should say studio. All right, so I'm not doing any painting tonight, really. I just wanted to get on here and just to be here with you guys. And hi, how are you doing? It just says Facebook user, so I'm not sure who that is, but hello and thank you for being here. Usually there's some sort of thing that you can click on to grant StreamYard permission just to see your name. Doesn't do anything besides tell me where you're coming from. Sherry. Is that Sherry Stalder or Sherry Spalding? I maybe messed up both of those last names, but hi, Sherry. How are you doing? Stalder. Maybe? Okay. Either way, I appreciate you being here. And it's time to feed the dogs, so it might be loud for a second. Good, good. Just go for it, buddy. All right. So what I'm going to be working on tonight is a custom pet portrait that I have been needing to work on and just keep having setbacks. So since I wanted to be here, I thought, why not take you guys along on the journey with me? And I know I'm not totally set up and ready to go, but I thought maybe this part might be useful to somebody. So I've got, the way I'm doing this pet portrait is I'm going to first sketch out the dog and then I will, so that's going to be in pencil. That way I can erase all my mistakes because there will be lots of mistakes. There always are. And then I will use a fine, sorry, my tape is all messed up. Okay. I will use one of my fine liner markers, super fine point, and I will do the dog's outline from there. That is a water resistant permanent marker. Very fine point though. And then I will watercolor and hopefully capture the beauty of this handsome guy right here. My print job isn't great, but I'm only working off of this here just for the lines right now. When I get into the color, I'll use my laptop where I have the photo and I can zoom in and just get that, you know, a lot truer colors to be able to capture this guy. Okay, so this step right here may not be necessary at this point, but it helps me remember to, maybe it doesn't help me remember. It helps keep me from forgetting to do this before I go in with the watercolor. So what I'm going to do is I have my 9x12 watercolor paper and I'm going to tape it to my portable board here. That way I can kind of work on it wherever. Couple of things though. I'm going to use masking tape. And before I actually apply the tape, I'm going to take this and just kind of stick it to my clothing. So just kind of roll it out a bit. And what this is doing is picking up some of the fibers off of my clothing to keep this from getting a super adhesive stick. We want it to stick, but not to the point where it's going to tear off our paper, tear apart our paper, sorry. So I'm just really kind of eyeballing maybe a 1/4 of an inch border here. Just gonna kind of rip that off, and then I'm gonna just press that down to make sure I've got a, you know, you want it to have a good bond, but not so much that it's going to, like when you go to take it off, that it's just going to tear the paper apart. Okay, make sure that I've got it stuck on here. Another reason I tape it, like I said, if I do it before I start drawing, then I can't forget to tape it before I start the watercolor. Now, the reason I'm taping it at all with the watercolor is because when you put water on the paper, it's going to expand and almost kind of stretch, I suppose. If you've ever worked with watercolor, you might, oops, darn it. You might already know when you're painting with watercolor, a lot of times the paper will kind of get a wave to it, it'll warp. And taping it down like this will prevent that. I mean, I haven't totally eliminated that. It has happened with every watercolor that I've done. However, it is much less severe when I tape the paper down. So I've got this one on there. Not so much. I haven't really pressed it down. Okay, I'm just going to press on the corner. I'm not sticking this to my board yet. I'm going to get, and this isn't going to be completely straight. And that's okay, because this, another thing that this does is kind of give it a nice border. So that way, this helps to keep me in certain boundaries. That way I don't have something, I mean, it's probably not too often that I'm going to have anything really detailed right along these edges. But to make sure I don't do that, the tape helps with that too. That way, the recipient of this, if they choose to mat this and frame it, it has a good border, and everything that has been painted in this is all going to be within that mat, and still have, you have to have that little bit of an edge to be able to mat something. Hopefully that's making some sense. I'm not sure if it is, but you know, when you have something matted, if it goes clear to the edge of the printed, painted surface, you're going to lose a little bit. Okay, so since I don't have this taped down, I'm just going to pull gently away from this side just to make sure I have it nice and tight. Now I'm going to stick that. I don't know that there will be anything, you know, super informative here with what I'm doing, but I just had a little bit of work that I needed to commit to, and I thought that, you know, committing to getting on here live and checking in with everybody would be a good way to ensure that I follow through. The person that this is for is patiently waiting, and it won't take me long once I have this pup painted or drawn in here. But like I said, just things kept coming up and I haven't been able to get to it. So how is everybody doing? Are you guys roasting a little bit? It's cooler today than it was a few days ago, which is nice. That's kind of when the summer starts out, you know, goes from 60s and rainy and all of a sudden, you know, dry maybe for a couple days, and then all of a sudden it's in the 90s. That's a rough start. Much cooler today, except inside where I am. It's very warm right now. Okay. Right. I think I am ready to start. I have all my things here. I know I've talked about this before, but I like to use a little, this is a makeup brush of sorts. I think maybe, I don't know. I don't really wear makeup. When I do, it's mascara. So not sure exactly what this is for. I feel like it's a blush sort of thing. Anyway, this is for when I debris. I don't like to sweep it off with my hands. You can always kind of, you know, blow it off, but then I'm going to risk getting a little bit of spit on the paper, which is not a huge deal, but it could be a huge deal, I suppose. If you have color on there already, any sort of pigment that could mess with. I just don't want the oils from my hands getting on the paper or any smudging. So that's why I use this thing here and just kind of brush off that debris. So when I start my sketching, I like to use a mechanical pencil. It's always got that, you know, this is it's a 0.9. I don't know if that millimeter. I have no idea. Well, hello there. How are you tonight? Millimeter, yes. Okay. So I've got my 0.9 millimeter mechanical pencil. I don't have to stop and sharpen. And now I've got stuff all over. Apparently there's some debris in the bottom of my little art bag there. Okay. I should probably start and quit talking. All right. So the client sent me a few different photos. And it's a very pretty guy right here. Watering a garden. Nice. What are you growing? I didn't even plant anything. I wonder if that's Bonnie. Is that Bonnie? I don't know. Okay, so this is the one I chose. I feel like it gives them shows a little bit of personality there. I know it's kind of hard to see, but it's got beautiful eyes, blue eyes, and then there's a spot of brown in there. And I love the way he's sitting. So I've been thinking, I don't know if I should do more of a headshot or do the whole thing. So I think I may just focus on, oh, Destiny. Hi, Destiny. Growing a bit of everything. That's awesome. And you're watering the garden and tuning into a live. That's pretty skilled right there. I'm impressed. I think if I did that, I would have one spot that is just flooded. Okay, what do you guys think? I think that'll be good. All right, so I'm gonna get to work trying to capture this guy here. His name is Colt. Very pretty, looks very nice. Multitask queen, good job. I've gotten worse at that since having kids, I feel like. I was just talking with another friend yesterday, and we both agreed that since having children, it's harder to keep plants alive, like house plants. So I don't know if multitasking is my strong suit anymore, if it ever was. All right, so I'm going to find the Now, I don't even know if you guys will be able to see my pencil marks here. I do it really, really lightly when I'm first starting. That way, you know, the lighter I put it in there, the easier it is to erase. And going to be real here, there's always erasing. That is like, is that eraser? So I'm going to be, do you have hardy houseplants? That's what I have to go for. Spider plants and pothos. I can manage those. All right, so first I'm just going to try to get my boundaries. Yeah. Mine have to be hardy. I've killed so many things. So I've got an idea of where I would like his nose. Kind of sketching in the top of the head. And then, let's see, we come this way. Really rough. No pun intended. Rough sketching of the proportions here. Just so that I can, yeah, you guys can't even see that. Yeah, same here. You're gonna be a tough plant to live in this house. I always feel bad. I have apologized to plants when I'm purchasing them. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm gonna come home and die. You guys still can't see that, can you? So what I'm doing is just trying to find out the points of this guy that are the furthest out, and also my main points this way. That way I can kind of line them out here and know that I'm going to be within those areas. I did have a glass of wine, so I really hope I'm making sense. If I'm not, just call me on it. So, you know, you need to shut it down. It's time for bed. I feel like I have his proportions are off already, but that's okay. We're just setting our boundaries here at this time. So this one was I donated some time to devote to this. How am I trying to say this? It was for a high school booster club. They were doing a big, huge fundraiser, and so I donated a custom pet portrait, and kind of specific, you know, watercolor, mixed media. I do use gouache a lot of times with these as well. Evidently, I'm not a watercolor purist. I use white gouache to touch up my areas that should be white. When I think a purist or a true watercolorist would use just the white of the paper and not add anything besides watercolor. Okay, this guy, I've got his nose up too high. So it's going to come down. And the way I am looking at that is just, can't even see the pencil marks, but I'm just kind of comparing like imaginary lines of across and up and down. So once I've got that point of his ear over here, I realized that his nose was way too high because the top of it was almost like directly across from the point of that ear. Whereas if you look in the photo, there's the point of his ear, bottom, and then the top of the nose. So there's a good gap there, and I didn't have that. So it's just a matter of correcting that, and that's why I draw super light. It's just kind of a matter of comparing, you know, where one thing is in, my words aren't working, in respect to another thing. So I've got a really rough nose sketched in there, kind of. Oh, there's a fly on me. Do you guys see that? It's right there. I missed it. I even feel like this is actually too the ear is off. This little tuft of hair is off. I also really have a tendency to go big when I'm drawing. So that's part of my process as well. There's a lot of kind of scaling back on what my initial sketch looks like. Yeah, I'm making this way too big. I'm almost wondering if I should flip it and go landscape format. Or just scale back a bit. I should probably do that. I really like the, portrait format for pet portraits, unless there's a reason. Like I've done one before that I did 2 pets in one. And that made the most sense to do landscape format. Okay, so I've got an idea of where I want it. So maybe I'll just go into the eyes. As you guys can see, I really don't have a strict method for doing this. And you know what? I feel like a lot of art is like that. Like the more you do it, the better idea you have of, what it's going to take to achieve what you're looking to do. But I don't know. I'm just a firm believer that there are no hard and fast rules. It's like guidelines, kind of. Like here are things that typically work. Try them. If they don't work for you, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So do any of you do much work in watercolors? What is your favorite medium? I feel like mixed media counts too. Just a mix of everything. It's so quiet. I don't hear my kids. The neighborhood is quiet. Okay, these bangles are driving me nuts. Can't do it. Stay there. So far, this one eye It's not looking right. Okay. Sometimes getting the perspective right can be a little tricky, and having things still come out looking proportioned. Because he does have his head turned to the side a little, and it almost makes it look like it's tipped just slightly. Okay. That is good right there. And now his nose needs to come out. I do a lot of talking to myself, I realize. Okay, so I'm not an expert, but if you have questions at any time about anything, you know, art related, I will do my best to answer them, keeping in mind the whole not an expert bit. I found sometimes with pet portraits, the same might apply with people portraits too, but I honestly have not gotten that far. Sometimes a little embellishing is required, like just a little bit. And what I mean is, like, there's not, at least in this printout, which my printer doesn't do the highest quality, and I think I didn't have this set to higher quality, but there's not a lot of definition in the nose. There's not a lot of light reflecting. So when I get to that point, that's where I might embellish. My camera froze. Maybe even in this eye, there's not a whole lot of light reflecting. There's a really good light source right there, but that might be just a little touch of embellishment there. You know, just to make sure that that definition and dimension is there. That fly. I don't know if you guys can see that at all. That fly is driving me nuts. Okay, so I still have the nose proportions incorrect. There's yeah, a lot of this lack of definition could very well just be my print job here. Once I get back into the photos on my computer, on the laptop, it might be way different. And I can zoom, whoops, sorry, pretty close up and just really get a good look. And this doesn't have to be super detailed. However, I do want it to look like this guy. And he may end up going off frame a little bit. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Yeah, those proportions are better. But nope, nope. Head's too short. Help me. I've enlarged it. Okay, I feel like that's better, maybe. I don't know. How would you feel if your pet's portrait went out of frame? I guess maybe it just depends on how the rest of it looks. I feel like that's still too short, just a little. Okay, and most likely I'm not going to stay on here until I'm finished with this sketch. I tend to be somewhat slow at work, kind of a worker, or just slow. I'll just admit that I am a slowpoke. Is that too tall? I don't think so, but that's too. Okay. So I got a notification that the last live that I did when I was varnishing the goat painting, told me that almost half of it is muted due to copyright because the music in it could belong to someone else. There's no music. And I haven't been on my laptop to try to figure it out from there, but from the app on my phone, there's nothing I can do to dispute it. So I'm not really sure what to do about that. And I haven't had anybody comment that it is actually muted. So I'm not sure, excuse me, how completely true that is. I mean, if Facebook is telling me that it's muted, I just kind of assume that it's muted. But there's no music in that. So hopefully it doesn't, I don't do the same on this one. There's no music. Nope, none. I like music when I'm doing art. When I'm doing a live, though, I don't usually subject you guys to the stuff I like to listen to. It's just not. I don't have all this stuff coming through. My phone, I didn't shut the sound off, and it's just, it keeps beeping. So sorry if you guys can hear that. Yeah. I don't know. All right, so that's gonna come down. One thing that can be difficult about doing commissions at times is I always get nervous if whether or not the client is going to like it. And although this one is a donation of my time, I still want it to look as good as possible, you know? And I actually don't know the story of this beautiful dog. I'm not sure if he is still around or not. And honestly, it really doesn't matter either way. I just always want to do always want to honor the memory. In as true of a way as possible, if that makes sense. True to character and just everything. So that doesn't look quite right. And some of this might look pretty flat. The color. The color is where you can start bringing things forward and setting things back, creating that dimension. And if you were just doing a pencil drawing, you'd be doing the same thing with, you know, adding dimension by creating light and shadow. That looks funny. It looks funny here. Things are not right. Okay, now this is this is a time when I would, hold on, would just, no, that's not gonna work. I thought I already had the photo pulled up. Oh, excuse me. But I don't. Nope. Okay, so I don't usually print out the photo that I'm working from. I usually just will use my laptop because they're sent to me through email, you know. So I'll just use it on my laptop and then I can go straight from there and enlarge things, and just really be able to see a more detailed view. That way I know I'm getting things a little closer to how the dog actually looks. So I've given myself a new challenge here by working from a printed photo. And I don't know, the way I had that just now kind of looked like, I can't even explain it. Like maybe like the dog had no teeth, kind of like, you know, you see grandpa without his dentures or something. And it just makes them look different. It still is not perfect, but that's okay. It looks better than it was. Like it was just way too short between the nose and the bottom jaw. And still is not quite right. And like I said, that's okay. It's just a matter of checking back in with that original photo that was sent to me and it's getting better detail. I feel like this rubbery nose is not quite proportioned either. Okay, so the tip of the ear is going to come out a ways and be like just under the eye. Ah, slippery. So something I've been thinking, this is paint party related, I would really like to do a paint your pet party where I would have people send in photos of their pets and I would turn them into a line drawing, sketch it out on the canvas for you or you know, in general terms. And excuse me, guide everybody through painting their own pet, and it could even be done in like a pop art style. So it would be not taken so seriously, be a little more fun. I think it'd be a whole lot of fun. So now I'm wondering if I put the nose a little too low. That's too pointy. Maybe. I keep looking at the screen because it's actually pretty crazy how what I see here and what I see on my screen can just really change things. Sometimes when I'm drawing, I will actually take a picture of what I'm working on, and that way I can look at that and immediately see the areas where I need to do a little more work, areas that maybe proportions are off or something needs to be darker. So yeah, sometimes just taking a picture of what you're working on. I don't know why it's different, but yeah, it can really change things. So I feel like this actually needs to be. So I've started sketching a little darker and darker as I've gone along. And if I get too many stubborn pencil marks, I might actually just start over on a different piece of paper. Not what I want to do, but you know, I don't want a whole bunch of eraser marks. And hi, pups. Hi. Hello. Just have it looking all overworked and sketchy by the time I'm ready to give it to the person. It would not be the first time I have started over like that. So things too long, like this way. I've got it too. Yeah, like it actually needs to be a little shorter to work with the perspective of more of a frontal photo. All right, so I'm going to call it a night here pretty soon. I've kept you guys here for like an hour and I'm just rambling, having some art therapy time. And I'll make sure when I've got this drawing finished, I'll post an update of that. And also when the painting itself is finished. I won't post that until it's delivered to the client, just in case. I don't know. I haven't noticed that I have gotten any new followers that maybe she's paying attention to any of this, but I would hate to kind of blow it a little bit. But I do like to do time lapses. And then that way, if somebody wants to see the process of their commissioned piece, then I have that to show them and they can kind of see it, you know, see it being created. And I've gotten a little dark on this, so I may have to end up starting over on a different piece. And that's okay. That's not the worst thing that could happen. Oh, Paisley. Hold on, my dog's running away. Stay here, lady. Paisley, come here. Stay there. Come here, girl. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. All right, so I kind of blocked her run. My dogs are runners. Hound dogs. It's like they catch a whiff of something and off they go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, call it a night with the drawing. I mean, I might work on it more, but I won't stay on here. But check this out. I did get the goat completely done. See how I can't catch the light? It's got a nice glaze on it, but it's not super shiny. So now I can give that to the people that I plan on giving it to, like a year ago. Maybe tomorrow I might be able to give it to them. Little goat. Also, I just gessoed a big canvas that had something printed on it. And I tried to paint over it years ago. It's been in my garage for years, but it was a freebie. Like I said, it had something printed on it. It wasn't an actual piece of, you know, artwork that somebody put their own time into. But check this out. When I tried to paint over it, it didn't work. It just like the paint cracked and just did not work. So the other day, it's like I didn't try gessoing over it, so maybe I'll do that. So look how big this thing is. What should I do with it? The gesso worked. It's not cracked. It's not peeling. That's a bonus canvas because I didn't have to pay for it. So if you guys have any ideas of what I should do, maybe I should just paint my rage on it. I don't know. Fling paint, see what happens. Pull a Jackson Pollock. All right. I hope you all are doing well and finding some time to devote to your creative, I'm sorry, I'm losing my words. Your creative work of choice, creative hobby of choice. Thought my dog ran off again. Just make sure you're finding that time for yourself and doing whatever feels right. Just keep it going. Make time for you. Drink lots of water. Stay hydrated. I'm going to say goodnight for now. And thank you guys so much for joining me. I know it's been a little slow and not a whole lot to show for it. Something that I probably will start over. But that's okay. In the past when I was younger, I would rather tear a hole in my paper with my eraser, trying to get rid of all of this than to start over. That's not a big deal. Like, I've got a little bit of like a practice run if I do decide to start over. Now I can just, kind of have an idea of maybe I can go a little smaller so that parts of them are not coming off the paper. Just kind of capture the whole thing there. All right, I'm done rambling. Sorry, guys. All right, I hope you all have a good night and take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon. Bye.